What did the surviving roommates really see and hear the night of the University of Idaho murders? For the first time, we're getting new details straight from court documents. Frantic text messages, a vacuum-like object, and the transcript of that strange 911 call. Ready to find out more about what happened inside that house before police arrived? Let's recap. Between 4:22 and 4:24 a.m. on November 13th, 2022, Dylan Mortensen and Bethany Funk sent 17 frantic text messages back and forth trying to make sense of what's happening in their house. According to newly released court documents, they even mentioned someone in a ski mask. At this point, they have no idea that just rooms away, their friends, Madison Mogan, Kaylee Gonsalves, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin have already been brutally stabbed to death. Prosecutors want to use the survivors' calls and texts as evidence in Bryan Kohberger's trial. If you need a refresher, Bryan Kohberger, a criminology PhD student at Washington State University, was arrested in December 2022, just weeks after the 4 University of Idaho students were murdered in their off-campus home. His trial is finally set for August 2025, but it won't be in Moscow, Idaho, where the crime happened. It's been moved to Boise because of all the media attention. The trial is expected to last through November, and the stakes couldn't be higher. The death penalty is on the table, and if he's convicted, he could be executed by firing squad. His defense team is fighting hard, challenging evidence and questioning the surviving roommates' statements to try and weaken the prosecution's case. And now, these newly released text messages and the 911 call transcript are adding more details to the timeline. Let's break it down. At 3:56 a.m., police say a white Hyundai Elantra turns into the neighborhood where the house is. A little after 4, Dylan Mortensen starts hearing strange noises, a voice saying, "Someone's here," movement upstairs that sounds like Kaylee playing with her dog, then crying, followed by a man's voice saying something like, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." For reference, Dylan's room is on the middle floor, the same as Xana and Ethan. Kaylee and Madison are upstairs, and Bethany is on the bottom floor. At 4:17, a security camera from a house less than 50 feet away picks up some eerie sounds. A whimper, a loud thud, and a dog barking. Right after that, Dylan looks out of her room for the 3rd time, and this time she sees him. A man in black, wearing a ski mask, walking past her toward the sliding glass door at the back of the house. She can't see his face, but she notices his bushy eyebrows. And here's something new we just learned from court docs. He's carrying something. Dylan describes it as a vacuum-like object. Sounds bizarre, right? Well, hold that thought. We'll come back to it. For now, let's just keep going through the timeline. At 4:20 a.m., the white Elantra speeds away from the scene. Later, that same type of car is spotted outside Bryan Kohberger's apartment in Pullman, Washington, just 15 minutes away. At 4:22 a.m., Dylan texts Bethany. "No one is answering. I'm really confused right now." Over the next few minutes, 13 more messages go back and forth between them. Bethany replies, "Yeah, dude, WTF." Then she texts, "Xana was wearing all black." Now, she's probably confused here since Xana had been out earlier that night in a black outfit. Dylan, clearly panicking, responds, "I'm freaked out right now. It's like a ski mask almost, like he had something over his head and mouth. I'm not kidding. I'm so freaked out." Bethany says, "So am I." Then she tells Dylan, "Come to my room. Run down here." Dylan tries calling the other roommates again, but no one picks up. At 4:32 a.m., she sends one last message to Kaylee, "Please answer." After that, she goes downstairs to Bethany's room, and they lock themselves in for the rest of the night. They're clearly scared, but at this point, they have no idea just how terrified they should be. The next morning, starting at 10:23, Dylan tries texting the other roommates again. "Please answer. Are you up?" When she still doesn't get a response, she texts her dad. Then at 11:50 a.m., she calls a neighbor to come over. The neighbor brings her boyfriend, who checks Xana's room first. The moment he sees what's inside, he yells for the girls to call 911. That call is made from Bethany's phone. Now, for the first time, you're seeing exactly what was said in that 911 transcript, and it gives a chilling look at the moment they realize something is horribly wrong. The call is chaotic. It's clear they're passing the phone around, panicking and struggling to explain what's happening. It starts with, "Hi, something is happening. Something happened in our house. We don't know what." Then comes this chilling line. One of the roommates who's passed out. She was drunk last night and she's not waking up. When asked if she's breathing, they say no. At this point, they didn't mention anyone else, so they haven't found the others yet. There's also no mention of the bloody, violent scene in the room. But then someone on the call suddenly adds, "Oh, and they saw some man in their house last night." Moments later, police arrive. As the call is wrapping up, one of the officers can be heard in the background saying, "I think we have a homicide." Chilling words, but the texts and the 911 call aren't the only new details we've learned. Let's go back to something Dylan saw that night. The vacuum-like object the masked man was carrying. It may have actually been the K-bar knife used in the attack. As you know, police found a leather K-bar knife sheath on the bed next to Madison Mogen's body. And here's the key detail. It allegedly had Bryan Kohberger's DNA on it. The K-bar is a massive weapon, almost a foot long. If Dylan saw him holding it in the dim light, her shocked, panicked brain might have mistaken it for something else, like a dustbuster or a small vacuum. If that's the case, then what Dylan saw wasn't just some random object, it could have been the murder weapon itself. And while police still haven't found the knife, prosecutors believe they have enough evidence to place Bryan inside that house the night of the murders. With these newly revealed text messages, the frantic 911 call, and Dylan's description of the suspect, they're building a case that they say is strong, even without the weapon. As for Bryan, he's sticking to his not guilty plea and has offered up a pretty vague alibi for the night of the murders, claiming he was driving around alone looking at the stars. But here's the problem. No one can back that up. Still, with the trial months away, his defense team is pushing back hard, challenging evidence, questioning witnesses, and trying to create doubt about what really happened that night. And there's still more to come. As we get closer to the trial, new details will keep coming out. So if you want to stay ahead of the updates, be sure to like this video and subscribe to keep getting all the crime in half the time. And if you want to go even deeper, Amy and I are breaking this case down for our members. There's a lot to talk about. The shocking discovery of unidentified DNA under Madison's fingernails, the fight to keep Kohberger's Amazon shopping history away from the jury, and all the theories about how and why he may have targeted these victims. If you haven't already, check out our membership options and join us. We'd love to have you there. Until then, stay safe and we'll see you in the next recap.